The entire courtroom froze as little Ava stepped forward, clutching her worn sketchbook to her chest. Her voice trembled, but her words cut through the silence like thunder. When our parents left us, I thought nobody would ever want us. But Mr. Cole, he found us. He kept us safe. He promised he wouldn't leave, and he never did. Slowly, she opened the sketchbook and lifted it for the judge to see. On the page was a house with 3 figures. Beneath it, herself, her brother Liam, and Ethan Cole with 1 word written in bold, uneven letters. Home. Gas rippled through the gallery. Then Liam's small voice added, "Please don't make us go back." He's the only one who stayed. In that moment, everyone knew what the judge's decision had to be, and that choice would change their lives forever. The sun hung low over Silver Creek Bridge, painting the asphalt with streaks of golden shadow. The road stretched on for miles, empty and forgotten, save for the faint hum of cycads and surrounding trees. Ethan Cole, a man whose net worth made headlines in financial magazines, eased his Rolls Royce to a crawl. He wasn't supposed to be here. He had led an afternoon meeting in Charlotte, preferring the solitude of the long drive back to his home in Summit Ridge, estates outside Asheville. For once, he wanted quiet, but fate had different plans. There, just beyond the bend, 2 small figures stood on the shoulder of the road. Ethan blinked, certain his eyes were deceiving him. Children alone. One clutched a battered suitcase that looked older than she was. The other hid, partially behind her, trembling. Ethan's chest tightened. What kind of nightmare was this? He pulled over, heart pounding, and stepped out into the blistering heat. The girl couldn't have been more than 8. Her blonde hair, tied into uneven pigtails, was matted with dust. She looked at him with a mixture of fear and something else, something that broke him instantly. Hope. The boy beside her, maybe 6, was smaller, frail with wide, tear-stained eyes. He clung to his sister's shirt as though she were the only thing tethering him to safety. "Hey there," Ethan said, softly, crouching down to their level. His tailored suit felt out of place in this barren stretch of road. "Are you two okay? Where are your parents?" The girl swallowed hard, her voice barely audible. "They left," the words cut deeper than any blade. "They said they'd come back." She added, her small voice breaking. "But it's been a long time." The boy pressed closer to her, eyes darting between Ethan and the deserted horizon. Ethan looked around. No houses, no gas station, not even a farmhouse. Just miles of empty roads, shimmering in the summer heat. His jaw clenched. What kind of monsters? Abandoned 2 children in the middle of nowhere. "How long have you been out here?" he asked, struggling to keep his tone calm. "Since the sun came up," she whispered. Her forehead glistened with sweat, her tiny hand swiping it away with the back of her arm. The boy whimpered suddenly. "I'm thirsty." His voice was so small, Ethan almost didn't hear it. Without hesitation, Ethan sprinted to his car, grabbed the 2 bottles of water he always kept in the glove compartment, and hurried back. "Drink slowly," he urged, handing them the bottles. He watched them gulp, desperately, their thin throats working frantically. He'd seen desperation in boardrooms and hostile negotiations, but never like this, never this raw. "Tell me your names," Ethan said, sitting cross-legged on the hot pavement beside them so he wouldn't tower over them. "I'm Ava," the girl answered cautiously. She pulled her brother closer. "This is my little brother, Liam." Ethan's throat tightened. He offered them a small smile. "I'm Ethan Cole." AA's eyes narrowed suspicion, mingling with exhaustion. Are you going to leave us? 2. The question nearly brought Ethan to his knees. He shook his head with conviction. Never. I give you my word. Liam sniffled, clutching his water bottle. Promise? Ethan extended his pinky finger. Pinky promise. The boy's lip trembled before he hooked his tiny finger around Ethan's. For the first time since Ethan had pulled over, Liam managed the faintest smile. Ava still looked uncertain, but the relief in her eyes was undeniable. Come on, Ethan said gently, standing. Let's get you out of this heat. You'll ride with me, and I'll figure out what to do from there. But you're not staying out here another minute. He lifted their worn suitcases, surprised by how heavy they were. Inside, no doubt, was everything these children had left of their lives. Liam clutched Ethan's hand immediately, while Ava hung back, cautious but curious. When they finally climbed into the back of the Rolls-Royce, the blast of cool air from the vents made Liam sigh with relief. Ethan handed them a pack of crackers from the back seat. They ate hungrily, crumbs scattering across their laps. He didn't care about the mess. He cared about the haunted look in Ava's eyes and the way Liam kept glancing out the window as though terrified his parents might return to reclaim them. Where are we going? Ava asked softly. To my home in Asheville. Ethan replied, starting the engine. You'll have food, a place to sleep, and safety. Tomorrow we'll talk about the next steps. She studied him carefully. And you won't give us away. Ethan's voice was firm, unwavering. Not now, not ever. As the city skyline came into view, 2 hours later, Ethan realized his life had shifted in a way he couldn't undo. 2 hours earlier, he had been a wealthy man with a quiet, empty mansion. Now he was the protector of 2 fragile lives. Children scarred by betrayal, yet holding on to the tiniest spark of faith. He knew he couldn't let that spark go out. When they arrived at Summit Ridge Estates, the uniformed guard at the gate gave Ethan a curious glance as he saw the children in the back. Ethan forced a smile. My niece and nephew, he lied smoothly. They're staying with me inside the sprawling penthouse. Ava and Liam froze at the threshold. The marble floors gleamed and the floor-to-ceiling windows revealed a breathtaking view of Asheville's rolling hills. Liam gasped, rushing to the glass. It's like we're flying. For the first time, Ava allowed herself a small smile as she joined him. Ethan stood a few feet behind, his chest tight. Their wonder, their fragile trust, it was all a reminder of how much was at stake. That night, as he watched them drift off to sleep in the guest suite, Liam, clutching a stuffed bear the housekeeper Helen Brooks had found in storage, Ethan made a silent vow. No matter the cost, he would protect these children. He would never let them feel abandoned. Again, he didn't know it yet, but this promise would change not only their lives, it would change it forever. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption, but we hope you will help us improve our content in the future. Do you think Ethan did the right thing by taking the children home instead of calling the authorities right away? Yes or no? If you were in Ethan's shoes, would you have made the same promise to Ava and Liam? Yes or no? Do you believe parents who abandon their children should ever be forgiven? Yes or no? The next morning, sunlight streamed through the wide windows of Ethan Cole's penthouse, catching in the polished marble floors and the glass walls that overlooked the Blue Ridge Mountains. To Ethan, the place had always been impressive, but to Ava and Liam, it felt like a palace. Yet, even in the glow of luxury, their movements betrayed unease. Hesitant steps, quick glances over their shoulders, as if every moment they expected someone to push them out. Ethan rose early, his usual habit from years of business discipline. But instead of heading to his home office, he lingered in the kitchen. Helen Brooks, his housekeeper, had prepared pancakes and fruit. Ethan waited nervous in a way he hadn't felt even before multi-million-dollar negotiations. Would the kids eat? Would they trust him enough to relax? Even just a little? Ava guided Liam into the kitchen. She pulled him back when he reached for the food too eagerly. We can't just take it, she whispered. You don't have to ask here. Ethan said, his voice gentle. This is yours as much as mine. Liam's eyes lit up, and for the first time a childlike grin broke through his fear. He piled pancakes on his plate, syrup dripping down his fingers. Ava remained guarded, nibbling only at a slice of apple. Ethan noticed, but he didn't push. Trust couldn't be forced. It had to be earned. That afternoon, Ethan led every meeting on his calendar. Riverton investments could wait. His mind was already spinning with new responsibilities: finding a lawyer, navigating child protective services, preparing for the possibility that Ava and Liam's parents might resurface. But when he looked at them, Liam laughing at cartoons on the massive flat screen, Ava sketching silently in a notebook on the couch, he knew he would do whatever it took to protect them. Days turned into a week. Ethan bought them clothes that actually fit, signed them up for Riverton Academy, and hired tutors to help Ava catch up on schoolwork, while Liam explored beginner reading. The penthouse, once silent, now echoed with footsteps, laughter, and arguments over bedtime. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't feel like the richest, lonely man. In Asheville, he felt like something better, like a father, but peace never lasts long. One morning, Ethan received a call from his attorney, Charles Whitman. His tone was grave. We've got a problem. Their biological parents, Daniel and Marissa Cole, have surfaced, and they're demanding custody. Ethan's blood ran cold. Custody. They left their children on the side of a road like trash. Whitman sighed. I know, but the law favors blood ties. Unless we prove abandonment and unfitness, they stand a chance. And Ethan, they've hired representation. Someone ruthless. Ethan's hand tightened around the phone. He glanced toward the balcony where Ava and Liam were watering the plants Helen had set out. They looked so fragile, so unaware of the storm brewing. He swore he wouldn't let anyone drag them back into that nightmare. The battle began. Almost immediately, CPS officers visited Ethan's home, questioning his fitness to provide care. Though polite, their presence shook the fragile sense of safety the children had begun to build. Ava clung to Ethan's sleeve during interviews, her eyes darting with panic whenever someone mentioned her parents. Liam started waking in the night, sobbing, "Don't let them take us." Then came the smear campaign. Someone Ethan suspected Daniel's lawyer leaked rumors to the press. Tabloids printed headlines like "Billionaire using orphans for image makeover" and "Hidden motives behind Ethan Cole's sudden guardianship." Paparazzi swarmed the gates of Summit Ridge Estate's, cameras flashing, trying to capture pictures of the kids. Ethan tightened security, but the intrusion rattled Ava so badly she refused to step outside for days. Ethan called Whitman in fury. They're torturing those kids just to win. I won't let it stand. Whitman's voice was calm but firm. We'll fight this in court, Ethan, but you need to prepare for the hardest part. They may force Ava and Liam to testify. Are you ready for that? The thought hit him like a punch. Asking those children to relive their abandonment in front of strangers was cruel beyond measure. But what choice did he have? As the hearing date drew closer, tension soared. One night, Ethan found Ava sitting on the floor of her room, her sketchbook opened, to a drawing of herself and Liam, standing alone on Silver Creek Bridge, their suitcases beside them. Tears stained the page. They'll send us back, won't they? She asked quietly, not looking up. Ethan knelt beside her, his heart breaking. No, Ava, I won't let that happen. Not as long as I'm breathing. She finally met his gaze, her lip trembling. Promise. He pulled her into his arms. I promise. Meanwhile, Whitman uncovered evidence that Daniel and Marissa had been living in motel, dodging debt collectors and spending money on substances instead of caring for their kids. But proving it in court would be difficult without direct testimony. The night before the hearing, Ethan barely slept. He sat in the darkened living room, staring at the city lights, thinking about everything he had to lose. His business, his reputation, none of it mattered. All that mattered was keeping Ava and Liam safe. And deep down, he knew the truth. This fight wasn't just about custody. It was about proving the two abandoned children that someone finally had chosen them and wasn't going to walk away. The next morning, as he buttoned his suit and prepared to leave for the courthouse, Ethan caught his reflection in the mirror. He didn't see the billionaire the world gossiped about. He saw a man who had been given an unexpected second chance to be a protector, to be a father, to be more than his wealth, and he intended to fight with everything he had. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption, but we hope you will help us improve our content in the future. Do you believe Ethan should risk his reputation to fight for Ava and Liam in court? Yes or no? If you were Ava, would you trust Ethan's promise not to abandon you? Yes or no? Do you think parents who abandon their kids deserve a second chance to reclaim them? Yes or no? The courthouse in downtown Asheville was buzzing with whispers the morning of the custody hearing. Reporters lined the steps, cameras flashing as Ethan Cole arrived, hand in hand with Ava and Liam. He kept his shoulders straight, his jaw set, but inside his heart was pounding. For weeks, he had prepared for this moment, but no preparation could erase the fear that the system might fail these children once more. Inside the courtroom, Daniel and Marissa Cole sat at the plaintiff's table. Their appearance polished, their expressions rehearsed. Marissa dabbed at her eyes with a tissue while Daniel looked down, shaking his head as if overwhelmed by guilt. To outsiders, they could almost pass as parents, desperate for redemption. But Ethan knew the truth. He had seen what abandonment had carved into Ava and Liam's souls. Judge Michael Lawson presided over the case, his voice calm, but his eyes sharp. We are here to determine the custody of Ava and Liam Cole, he began, both biological parents, and Mr. Ethan Cole, who has acted as guardian these past weeks, will be heard. The children's welfare is the only concern of this court. The proceedings open with the parents' lawyer. He painted a sympathetic picture of two adults who had fallen into hard times, made poor choices, but who now wanted a second chance. They have learned from their mistakes. The lawyer insisted they want to rebuild their family and raise their children with love. A murmur spread through the courtroom. Ethan clenched his fist beneath the table. He wanted to shout about the hours Ava and Liam had spent in terror on that roadside, about Liam's nightmares, about Ava's whispered question, "Are you going to leave us too?" But he waited. His time would come. Charles Whitman, Ethan's lawyer, rose with quiet conviction. Your Honor, what we have here is not a family seeking to heal. It is abandonment, plain and simple. These children were left with nothing but suitcases on the side of a road. If not for Mr. Cole, we may have been discussing their deaths instead of their future. The law may recognize biological ties, but these ties were severed the moment Daniel and Marissa walked away. Gaffs echoed in the gallery. The judge nodded gravely. I will also hear from the children should they wish to speak. The room fell silent. Ava's hand tightened around Ethan's arm. He looked down at her, his expression gentle, his nod encouraging. Slowly, Ava stood clutching her sketchbook. She walked to the stand, her shoes echoing faintly against the tile floor. When our mom and dad left us, she began, her voice trembling. I thought we didn't matter anymore. I thought nobody wanted us. She opened her sketchbook, revealing the drawing she had made herself, Liam and Ethan, standing under a roof with the word home written above. But Mr. Cole found us. He gave us food. He gave us safety. And he promised he wouldn't leave. He kept that promise. I want to stay with him. The courtroom gasped again, some wiping tears from their eyes. Then Liam, with Ethan's encouragement, climbed onto the stand. His small voice cracked as he said, he's the only one who stayed. Please don't make us go back. Daniel and Marissa looked down, unable to meet their children's eyes. Judge Lawson folded his hands, his expression solemn. The testimony of these children is powerful. The evidence of abandonment and neglect is undeniable. Custody of Ava and Liam Cole is hereby granted to Ethan Cole permanently. The gavel came down with a sharp crack. In that moment, the entire room seemed to exhale. Ava dropped her sketchbook and ran to Ethan, throwing her arms around him. Liam followed, burying his face in Ethan's chest. Ethan held them both tightly, tears streaming down his cheeks. For the first time in years, his wealth, his power, his name, none of it mattered. All that mattered was that his family was whole. Outside reporters clamored for a statement. Ethan shielded the children, guiding them to the waiting car. No comment, he said firmly. His duty was not to the press. It was to the two small hands clutching his. That night, back at Summit Ridge Estates, the atmosphere was transformed. Helen Brooks set the dining table with Ava and Liam's favorite foods, pizza, French fries, and ice cream. They laughed, danced around the living room, and fell asleep in their rooms with smiles instead of tears. Weeks turned into months. With Ethan's support, Ava flourished in school, her talent for art blossoming into something extraordinary. Liam overcame his nightmares, learning to read with joy and confidence. The Cole Family Foundation was born, dedicated to helping abandoned children find loving homes. Years later, people in Asheville didn't remember Ethan only as a wealthy businessman. They remembered him as the man who stopped on the side of a lonely road and refused to walk away. They remembered Ava and Liam, who once had nothing but ended up with everything that mattered: a home, a father, and a future. One evening, as the sun set behind the Blue Ridge Mountains, Ava presented Ethan with a new drawing. This time, it wasn't just three figures. It was dozens of children holding hands outside the Harbor Haven Center, with Ethan, Ava, and Liam at the center of it. All above them, in bold letters, she had written "Family Forever." Ethan framed it, hanging it in the living room where every visitor would see. It was a reminder that family isn't always about blood. It's about love, sacrifice, and the promises we keep. And Ethan Cole had kept his promise. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption, but we hope you will help us improve our content in the future. What do you think about this story? Did it touch your heart? Do you believe family is built more on love than on blood ties? Yes or no? If this story inspired you, comment 100 below. Tell us where you're watching from and share this video so others can feel the hope generated with https://com.ai.